back at you. Welcome back to the No Label Show. We got a special edition show today. We're gonna be talking about black fathers and the challenges they face. I'll give you the topic and we're going more depth. But we got a special guest here too. To my right, talk to him. Tell him who you are.
Dion Latin coming in from North Carolina, man. Just coming up here to provide a little perspective.
Highways and the byways. You see that? So when we out in the street, we ain't on the street. We on the road too. To my left, who we got? Y'all already know him.
Again.
All right, and me none other than the Fly. So okay, man. So the topic, we're gonna talk about what are some of the challenges of being. I'm gonna take that. Excuse me for that interruption. What are some of the challenges of being a black father in USA? And what influences has your own father had on you? So again, I'm gonna read that back to you, man. What are some of the challenges of being a black father in the USA? Whew, ain't that something? That's a deep one there. All right, man. We gonna expound on it. We're gonna talk about it on what some of those challenges we faced, and how our own father influenced us with dealing with those challenges. So D, give me something, man. What you think about that topic, man? I mean, what's that question?
Well, for me, being someone that grew up without my biological father in the picture,
Okay.
I think that brought its own set of challenges as well as being a black father in the U.S. I did, however, have a stepfather who filled the role as best as he possibly could, which I think that's what we all have to do is, be the best father that we can be, regardless of the challenges that we face. Because life itself is a challenge. But, being a black person in America is a challenge. And trying to be a black father because, systematically they have tried to remove us from the home and, to try to circumvent all those types of things, staying out of trouble, as far as incarceration and that type of thing, making sure you at work on time, you at work every day, stuff like that, Yeah, it sounds pretty basic, but it's real.
I think not to stop your bill, but I think in answering that question on somewhat of the challenges, we first have to deal with what is being a father.
Yeah.
So I think if we start with that and define what being a father might mean, then we can go on to the challenges of what that entails. And what you think, Ant?
I totally agree. Being a father is a 24-hour, 7-day week thing.
Mm-hmm. Please, give me more.
Your kid, from when your child is born
Mm-hmm.
until you're not here no more.
Oh.
Just because your child might, come of age and move into adulthood, you still don't stop being a father.
So that's a lifelong obligation?
Yes.
A commitment, should I say?
Both.
Obligation and commitment. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
It doesn't
So you
stop.
can't turn it on and off?
No.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good to know. What's some of the roles of being a father? Give me a couple of roles of being a father.
Provider.
So that means you got to go out and get that bacon, that cheese, that all of that, and the eggs, because the eggs are sky high right now too. So if you can afford to buy some eggs, he's a piece of he can put the roof over your, he can feed you. Is it his duty to put a roof over your head too?
Yeah, a father, the male species is hunted by nature.
I like that. Hunter by nature.
You can't give up the hunt. You know what I'm saying? You gotta hunt for food, you gotta hunt for clothes, you gotta hunt for shelter.
Gotcha.
You gotta hunt for all that. Women are nurturers by nature.
Gotcha.
They carry a child
For 9 months.
for term.
Mhm.
You know, could end up being 9 months, could be premature.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Whatever
So-
that term is, you're right. Good.
So, you know, their natural thing is to nurture, care for, you know. But we living in a society that's shifted somewhat, you know, because
that role to the woman.
you need
and that
two
because-
incomes, or you know, sometimes, you know, they don't pay us like, you know, you can be
Yeah.
on a job and doing the same job as
Your
X.
counterpart. Mm-hmm.
but because
You can say it on this show. White
Yeah.
folk. You can say it on this show.
white folk
Mhm.
or whatever,
You can be
that
doing the
you
same
know,
job as white folk and get half of what he get.
yeah,
Gotcha.
or considerably less,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and doing this exact same thing,
Right.
which, you know, that
And-
becomes a challenge because you can't provide in the same manner as he is for your family.
And as a father, you got to accept that because your role is to protect, to feed, right? To
Yeah,
room, shelter, board, and all of that,
yeah,
and
Teach.
and teach. And
yes.
teach, because I say, men from boys and men. So you got to teach them from how to being a boy to be grown into being a man. So, all right, so right. So if you're not doing all of those things, you might be borderline and on the father duties. You might not be a real father. So is all of the boxes got to be checked, or is it just some of the boxes? Can you feed them? Can you feed them? Clothe them and keep a roof over their head and just go to work and come back and just be a solid after that? Is that being a father?
Different circumstances change that.
Talk about it.
Being that, you know, you got with a woman, everything in the beginning was good. Then y'all fell off. Now y'all not together anymore. So, as I said earlier, father is a 24-hour, 7-day thing. But now you're not in the household 24 hours and 7 days because you and the woman didn't make it.
All right.
But that's still no excuse.
Yeah.
You still got to take care of your kids.
Right.
Which
So,
falls back into their obligation and commitment.
right, exactly.
You know,
And some fathers don't do that.
or some men
You're right.
would say that because
Yeah,
the
some
father,
men
Some men
yeah.
don't do that.
The father's the title.
yeah. Well, the father is a verb word to me. It's an action word. You
Oh
know?
yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Okay.
Ain't no days off. Ain't no seconds off. You know what I'm
Bringing a
saying?
child into the world doesn't make you a father.
No,
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
you still got things you have to do. 'Cause you have to have conversations with that child. You have to pick that child up from school, or even if the child falls, you got to be there to pick them back up,
Mhm.
motivate them to
Right.
continue to keep pushing forward.
You have
know
to
what
be a
I'm saying?
strong presence in his life, so that's
Yeah.
what they know what a strong presence is.
Yeah, preparing them for what's next, you know, because we all are going to be here for a short period of time. So you want to prepare them for life after yourself as well. You know, not only life after yourself, but life after school, you know what I'm saying? Once they graduate out of the school system, you know, to talk to them about work, you know.
Work ethics. Yep.
Yeah, work ethics, you know what I'm saying? Skills, what kind of,
Mhm.
you know, career path you're trying to go on. You know, what's important to you. You know, morals, values, all those things have to be passed on.
Okay, so now that we're talking about those things that you inherit from a father figure, right?
Yeah.
Of your father. Let's move off into was some of those things. Did you learn some of those things from your father? And I think you mentioned earlier that he wasn't present, or what's your situation? Did you learn that from?
So,
Mhm.
My mother and father had me when they were in high school.
Okay.
And, you know, so he took the route of he wasn't ready for a child, ready to be a father.
Okay,
So
got you.
he joined the Navy and skipped out on his responsibilities
manly duties.
his manly duties, you know, being a father to me.
Mm.
So my mother, you know, ended up getting married to my younger brother's dad. So I picked up certain things from him because, like I said earlier, prior to the show starting, that you know he only had a 6th grade education, couldn't read and write, had to read him his mail and things of that nature. But some of the things he did teach me was work ethic. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Leading by example.
Hard worker.
You know what I'm saying? Because he couldn't communicate those types of things to me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, sitting in the classroom and you hear all these other kids and talk about their fathers and their life and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting in the classroom looking around like, I don't even know my dad. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
Did that cause you to have resentment towards your father?
No, it motivated me to become the best father I could possibly be and try to break that cycle. You know, when I got into the dating game, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know young and you with somebody, you think you're gonna be with them for a long time, and like you say, it don't work out, but it's too late because you had the kid and you're not married, so now you put yourself in a situation to where you're gonna have to be a father to a child that you aren't living with, which is difficult, but it can be done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm proof of that because my kids know me. You know what I'm saying? I've been there for everything for them. Granted, I wasn't there every day, but from the physical standpoint, but you know, the love was there, the action, you know, being a father, participating in their life, not missing any of their important events. Cause like when I graduated high school, my dad wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? You look out in the crowd and you see all these other kids graduating, and both their parents are there, whether they together or not. You know what I'm saying? In most cases, they both were there unless they were deceased or incarcerated or whatever.
Was your stepfather there?
Yes.
So then you did have a father figure there.
Yes.
All right. So that picked up the slack, because what I'm trying to what I want to add is that your father, your biological father, wasn't there,
Right.
but you had a father figure who was there, and to the best of his ability gave whatever he could to ensure that your growth and development was on point.
Exactly.
So that that's a father.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't have to be
that.
So it don't have to be a biological father.
No, it does
The
not.
father is the title of the man that takes on that responsibility to make sure that the duties get done. And so that's what I really want to focus on in this special edition topic, right? Is that, you know, a lot of times, you know, us men, we meet women and she might say, well, listen here, I'm a package deal. And you say, whoa. You mentioned earlier, you know, we hunters. So when we hunt the booty, you know, we got to make sure that we take care of everything else that come with that, you know. And some dudes just want to be the hunt, the booty aspect, but they don't want the responsibility that comes with she got 3 mouths to feed, and not that she needs you to do that. It would be grateful if you did, if you could, or if you liked her so much that you want to be involved in their lives. And that's the difference there. A lot of dudes just want to just hit and go.
You have some women that had kids and their father might have passed away.
Right.
Which is not her fault. So if she meet another guy, like you were saying, because I've been down that road, I married a woman, she had 3 kids, and the responsibility, some people can't handle it.
This is true.
Yeah.
You understand?
It's overwhelming.
It can become overwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you got love in your heart, especially if you love that woman,
That's the
those
difference.
3 kids are your kids.
Yep.
even if they have a father that's not deceased or not, I'm in the household because the man is the head of the family,
Mm-hmm.
and he got to lead by example.
And I know it doesn't happen overnight, but you win that love and that trust from the kids by doing the fatherly duties.
Right. You know, they watch
know.
how you treat their mother.
Yeah,
They definitely do.
yeah.
You know, to expand on that, I also married a woman with 3 kids.
Oh,
in addition to my own 2. So
yeah.
yeah, if
The
we
Brady
were,
Bunch. Oh,
yeah, we were definitely a blended family.
Yeah.
But like you say, but because we loved each other, we were able to overcome all adversity.
There
that
we
was
go.
Thrown our way, all challenges
Yeah.
that were thrown our way. You know what I'm saying? We were grounded in love.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it didn't matter who was coming at us. You know what I'm saying? We resisted everything.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? And 28 years later,
yeah,
we still going.
yeah. And you got a lot of haters. Yeah. Well, you had some going on the way because they said, how is this relationship standing the weather and the test of time?
So let me tell you about the haters.
Talk about
And
it.
what the haters turned into.
Because we took. Come on. Well,
The haters turned into supporters.
Come on.
Like, oh man, what you guys have is special. Boom, boom, boom.
There
It's
we
like,
go. There we
you
go.
know, now they looking for advice.
There we go. That
You
black
know,
love.
Yeah, because
That black
they
love.
struggling
Yeah, yeah.
in their own life, man. How do y'all still together? Like, this is simple, man. It's love, man.
That's all it is.
I wasn't listening to you. when
I
was
wasn't
younger.
listeing to you. That's right. That's right.
I
Because a
was
lot of
listening
times.
to my heart
Yep.
and my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And sometimes that adversity comes from the kids too.
Oh
You know?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
sometimes
give you an example.
Please
so like,
do. That's right.
My daughter, which my stepdaughter,
Mhm.
her and her brothers conspired to try to, take me out. So they gonna put bleach in my water.
Get you out. Yeah.
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 So they-
Yeah. He got to go.
Yeah, but my keen senses smelt it in the water. I was like, I ain't drinking that.
Yeah.
They was like, because when I came into the picture, I was they was 10, 11, and 12.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So setting their ways, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
We like mommy being single because she can't control all of us. You know.
me growing up, in the church and stuff like that. So disciplinarian, you know what I'm
That's
saying?
where the rebellion was.
Morals and values, and they were
That's
hanging
what-
out late and all this gonna stop. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it was an abrupt adjustment for them. It's like,
Sure
oh,
was.
I ain't ready to give all this up, all this
Yeah.
freedom up.
up.
I got to go to class every day, and I got to do homework. I got to keep my room clean. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to do all that. You know what I'm saying? These are not just things that, that I'm trying
These are
to
life lessons that you need to have.
impose on you, but I'm trying to get you to understand that exactly.
Life
You're gonna
lessons.
have to be able to do these things because we're not always gonna be around.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna grow out of this. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have your own kids at some point. You're gonna have to deal with the same things that we are dealing with concerning you right now. You know what I'm saying? Then you're gonna look back and reflect, just like my mom used to always tell me, you're gonna have kids one day, you're gonna reap what you sow, boom, boom, boom. And like when you're young, you feel like, it'll be different. It'll be different. Only thing that's different is the time,
That's it.
the date.
That's it.
But you know what I'm saying, situations are still the same. Yeah, they might be on electronics and they might pick up on certain things a little faster, but the nuts and bolts of it is still, it's all the same.
Yeah. How you say the basics is still the basics.
Yeah, the basics are still the basics.
You know what I mean?
you know.
1 + 1 is still equal 2. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So those are the basics. And you learn them early, so this way you don't have to learn them when you're stubborn, as we say, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. So that's good. I'm glad you
One of the things I learned
Mhm.
with, you have to love the wife or the girlfriend, depending on what your situation is. You gotta love the kids, but you gotta also have communication with the lady.
Yes.
Communication,
Yes.
that's-
And certain things kids don't need to see or hear. So
Mm.
when they lay down, you go to a quiet area and say, look, because we all learn it from both parts.
Yes.
and a female.
Yes, it's an education
Okay.
for everybody.
What do we want to show them? What do we don't want them to see?
Mm.
Because they like sponges, man.
Yeah, they absorb.
When they absorb,
They absorb.
everything,
They listen. They
and
look.
like
they
I
see.
said earlier, you know, they watch how you treat their mother.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if you're doing the right thing later down the line, they'll treat the lady that they meet the way you treated their mother.
Sure.
And when they have kids, like, look, I remember the disciplinary actions that I had to
Mm-hmm.
go through.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the rewards as well.
Right.
You understand? So it's a bond amongst everybody.
Yes, it is.
And you know, some people want to do it, and some people don't want to do it. So
Yeah.
you know, one of the things that how I feel, you know, you gotta want kids to be a good father, and you gotta want those kids with the person that you with.
Yes.
Because you
100%
taking it
agree.
from, oh, we just dating or it just happened. No, you know what could happen when you get together with a woman if you're not using protection.
Mm. So you said
Yeah.
going into to the booty call from when
Right.
you when you at the booty call, you're there, you're at the house, man. You know, you had a night of dancing, night of eating, whatever it was, and now it's time, you know, for the main course. You gotta have that on your mind. What if I get her pregnant? That might make you go limp, cause you ain't thinking about. You just thinking about trying to hit something, man. You ain't trying to think about, man, I might have to raise some
That's
kids
called
with her.
responsibility. bro.
Exactly. Give you an example, man. If you are drinking and you get behind the steering wheel and you get pulled over,
Right.
gotta
You
deal
had
with
to
that
know-
repercussions.
That came along with that.
yeah, you know, you took that risk. You know what I'm saying? The chances of you getting caught. Same thing with sex. It's like
Mm.
you know, chances of you getting if you have orgasm, possibility of having a kid without protection is extremely high.
Well, let me just say this: with the times right now, these kids is having, these kids is having kids, and so they definitely not thinking about what you just said going into that act. They're curious. It's their first time. They're not thinking, man, I'm gonna get this girl pregnant. She 13, I'm 14. You know what I mean? Or we both 16. They're not thinking like that.
Was the father in the picture?
Ah. Now, because that's what I'm doing. I'm swinging you back around to the challenges of being a
Yeah,
father
yeah.
in the U.S.
13
And
and 14-year-old, how they get that much freedom?
Which he said he shut it down early. You got too much freedom. You running around, you doing this. I need you in the house, man. I need you doing homework duties, and you gonna clean your room. Because these are things that keep you out of these other things.
Yeah,
When we was coming up, when the street light came on,
yeah,
we would be in front of the house.
yeah.
Can't be down the block when the street light came on.
No, you
Mhm.
couldn't.
Today, they don't believe in that. They don't even. Some of them don't even know where their kids is.
So one of the challenges, promiscuity with the children.
Yeah, well, you know, electronics have become
The new
babysitters.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you know, 'cause they'll go buy them an Xbox, a PlayStation, or
Mhm.
Nintendo, whatever. I don't know what they call half this stuff. Like, you know, now that I'm a grandfather, you know, the grandkids come over. You know, we go and do things. You know what I'm saying? Like outside. You know what I'm saying? Like ride bike, go to swimming pool. You know what I'm saying? I just bought them all of the grandboys remote control cars. You know what I'm saying? Try to do things to keep them active outside of being stuck on an electronic device, because you know that can become a crutch.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Not only for the child, but for the parent as well. I've seen too many times where, you know, a parent put more energy into keeping this electronic device charged up so they can be free to do what they want, because all they got to do is hand this electronic
Yeah.
device off to this kid and keep them occupied while they go run and do whatever. You know what I'm saying? But
So the social
to me, that's
media
neglect.
social media is raising your child.
Yeah, social media, some of these like little kid shows that they watch.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Teaching them how to count and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm still going because they sell coloring books, you know what I'm saying, math books, stuff like that. I remember me and my wife had the grandkids one day, and we had, because we got two, mostly boys, but we got two girl grandkids, and she's homeschooled or whatever, and so the others go to public school. So, you know, I was challenging them with, like, you know, count to 100 by 5. And, you know, they were rattling off boom, 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 but she couldn't do it.
Ooh.
And she 2 years older than them. So, still being a father to your adult kids, I immediately called my son and was like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, why is she
having difficulty with this?
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, she should be even more advanced than them.
Right.
She's 2 years older. You know what I'm saying? She homeschooled, and then the truth comes out. Oh well, she like. Don't put that on her. That responsibility still falls on you, even though you're homeschooling. You know, and you work from home, so you have more opportunity to make sure that they are doing what they need to do. You know what I'm saying?
Don't assume. Don't assume that they know.
You can't
You
assume.
got to do the checks and the balances.
Yes, you become the teacher as well when you homeschool.
Absolutely.
And a lot of parents that homeschool don't quite understand that
Right.
aspect of it.
They don't know how to be a teacher.
Right. Well, you know.
It's not even. Sometimes it's not even that they don't know how to be a teacher. They don't want to be. To me, I classify that under, for lack of a better word, and it does sound harsh, but it's true, lazy.
Neglect. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because the child is the one that's really
Suffering.
suffering in that situation. Like, and then, because to me that still falls under, like, love for your child.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you love your child the way that you claim that you do, you don't allow these things to happen.
Yeah.
As a parent, you know what I'm saying, mother or father, mother or father. As a parent, you don't allow these things to happen to your child. You know what I'm saying? Because as a parent, you should always want what's best for your child under any circumstance. You know, and as a parent, it's up to you to provide that for them to the best of your ability. You know?
I mean, when I was growing up, I was given, like, for math, I was given the timetable chart, multiplication chart, you know, from 1 to 12, right? And we used to have to go home and study that. I used to have to go home and study that. You have to know from 1 to 12. You had to know the timetables. Boom. And once you get it, you find out that a lot of adults don't know that. You know, but like, what my parents used to do, my mother, because my mother raised me, and she had a limited education. You know, I mean, she went to 6th grade, I think. She had elementary education. You know what I mean? And she get the chart, and just read, and all you got to do is read the numbers, and then watch me go down the list. And what that did entail was what? Teach her.
Yeah.
That taught her. So now she's grabbing the chart to make sure I got it, but she's getting it herself.
Yeah. As a parent, you can't be afraid to learn with your child. Some people,
man,
with that ego, they embarrassed, or, you know what I'm saying, that their kid might know more than them. You know what I'm saying? And for me, I've never been afraid for my child to be smarter than I am or better than I am in anything. Because to me, ultimately, that should be the goal anyway.
That's what you want.
As a real parent, you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? You should want your child to excel further than you in life.
Well, it was necessary because at the time, you know, remember, because we got different eras. And in this era, my father not being there, my mother had to put in the work. She had to put in the work on both sides, you know, so she burnt the midnight oil, man. She had to make sure that we was washed, clothed, fed, had a roof over our head, and excelled in school. And her only goal was get your education because I didn't get a chance to get mine. So she sacrificed to make sure that I had to get. And one of the only requirements was get your education, finish school. and all her children finished school. You know what I mean? All her children finished school. That was, and when they got it, they bought it and they showed it to her, and I said, "This is for you because you gave so much." You know, so back to those challenges. So we got promiscuity as one of them. You know, teaching the kids how not to be fast, teaching them a grassroots, saying, "Listen, you know, don't do adult behavior because the consequences of that," and we just spoke about that, is what? Pregnancy. You don't want to be young, having a child, and repeating the cycle that I'm repeating right now. A young mother raising some kids. What is the next one? Birds of a feather flock together. Well, we got gangs out now. So, you know, one of the challenges now will be gangs. How do you keep them separated from that when the gangs are in school? The gangs is on the school bus. They start young. You know, how do you teach them about those challenges? And I think one of the best teachers is that you spend more time with them.
Yeah.
Where you go, they go. Listen here, what you doing? You come hang out with me. Yeah, we're gonna go to the park. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. So this way, their interactions are controlled until that you feel that they know enough to be out there on their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where they can make
Navigate.
sound decisions.
There we go.
Without your presence, you know what I'm saying?
And it cuts down on the bullying.
Yeah. You have to, you know, like reassure them that it's okay to not be a part of said gang. You know what I'm saying? Teaching them, reiterating the importance of morals and values.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like so. If you you know what I'm saying, had that conversation with them. If you join this gang and things go south, where does that put you? You know what I'm saying? Like whatever type of gang activity, if it's like you got to do certain things to be initiated into this gang, it's some criminal activity. You know what I'm saying? Just giving an example.
Mm-hmm.
And you get caught in the act of that criminal activity. Now, you in the system because you know you've been incarcerated or whatever, juvenile detention or however things pan out. So you get past all that. You get on into adulthood. You have a record.
Mm-hmm.
You want to go get a job, a good paying job.
All these things affect your life.
Yeah, it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they get looking at your application, resume, whatever, and then, you know, then they run a background check, and you have said criminal activity on your background check. Oh, well, I can't give you this job at the bank involving money because you armed robbery.
Yeah. You was
You know.
involved in fraud.
Yeah, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we can't trust you to do said job because
Of your background.
Of your background. So now I gotta leave this employer over here that was gonna pay me X amount of dollars, be able to support myself and my wife and kids or whatever in the future, and go over here and work this job that's paying minimum wage because they don't really care about your background. They just looking for bodies.
Right.
You know, you have now put yourself, you know,
behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
yeah,
And most of the time they go to these gangs or whatever because of one, the lack of love and peer pressure.
yeah,
So those are the two. So how do you remove that? That's one of the challenges. So what you do is you let them know that ain't no need for you. First of all, you show them the love.
yeah.
You got to show them the love. Once you show them the love, then you already let them know. Listen, as far as the pressure, the pressure's already here because you in a gang. Your family is a gang.
Exactly.
I'm the head of the gang. Your mama's the queen. Your brothers and sisters are the other little soldiers. And listen here, what I say go and do, and I ain't gonna send you on a mission. The mission that I got for you is, man, finish school. All the good, positive things that I need you to do, and not the nonsense that's gonna affect you later on in life where you can't get a job. You can't do this. You can't do that. And guess what? Your dad, how you say, your dad ain't in the gang outside of us.
You know, and having that conversation with them is a part of loving them. Though.
Sure,
You know
sure.
what I'm saying? Because you taking the time to teach them life skills.
That's it.
And
That's
things
it.
that are necessary for their own survival. You know what I'm saying? It's hard enough just being a human being, and you don't want to complicate things by involving yourself in things that I feel has nothing to do with you being a productive citizen in society. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, because if you're an individual and you have any desire to want to have a family, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need these necessary tools and skills so you can have a family. You know what I'm saying? That's what being a father or mother responsibility is, to pass those traits and qualities and characteristics down to their children. So, you know, they're not going into a situation blind like that. You know, like the more you know, the better.
And all right, and on that note, I want to segue into one of the other challenges is that as a black father in the world that we live in now, the day and the time that we're in now, one of the challenges is that when you see your children leave out the door, man, there's no guarantee that they're going to come back in. And as a black father, knowing that, how do you prepare for that? That's my question to you. How do you prepare for that? What do you do to prepare them and yourself for that? Because that's a challenge. You see it on the TV every now. The kid go out there, kid gets snatched. You don't see your kid now, you miss it. Kids still come up missing.
There's no preparation for death
Whoa,
How you kids
we didn't say death.
or disappearing
Disappearing, yeah.
for life. Or
So
the chances of you not seeing that person again, you can't prepare for that.
no, challenge. Yes,
Well,
you can.
yeah, I
Thank you.
think what he's speaking on is,
Because you got me. You know where I'm at. Go ahead.
is you have to have constant, continuous conversations with your children about everything.
Yeah.
Even that.
Yes.
Most importantly, that. You know what I'm saying?
Awareness.
What to do if a cop pull you over?
Awareness.
Yeah. You know.
What do you do if a car's stalking you and you rolling and you walking down the block and the car's rolling slowly behind you?
Oh, all right.
Cross the street and get where there's a crowd. Make some noise. Pull up and ring somebody's doorbell. You know what I mean?
Act like you.
This is where you live.
Yeah, that's where you live, or you know somebody
Right.
that live in that house. You know what I'm saying? Like,
These are the things that we have to prepare. Remember, we're talking about challenges in America, USA.
yeah,
You got to let them know first and foremost that, listen, you're a target.
definitely.
You know, and the best way to keep yourself safe is you need to start getting into these practices. I'm going to teach you some stuff on what you need to do, because preparation is the best thing. You can't have these kids out here, man, not being aware of the fact that their livelihood and their survival starts with them and listening to the rules that you give them. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Another way of doing that is, have your children in a lot of different activities. You might have after school sports, going to the library. Keep them busy.
Keep them busy, but you gotta make them aware.
What
Because
you
if
do-
you could be sending them into a hostile situation that you think is safe. You send them to school, to the after school center, and the gym coach is a pedophile. So you gotta tell him, listen, if somebody touch you in an inappropriate way,
Yeah, what
you gotta
to give them procedures.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like standard operating procedures.
Standard operating procedures,
what
man.
I call them.
Yeah,
something
I
I
like
kind of
that.
I learned from the military. That's what we call SOP, standard operating procedures. Like things that you do in certain situations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you get exposed to something like that, what do you first? I like to ask them, what do they think they should do? You know what I'm saying? To get them using,
Make him all right.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
use that
I
brain
got
of
you.
theirs. You know what I'm saying? So, but eventually you want them to get to a point to where it's instinct. You know what I'm saying? They can almost do these things without thinking.
In the sleep.
You know what I'm saying? It's like boom, boom, boom. It's like, you
In the
know,
sleep.
how they teach you in school, like if a fire is stop, drop, and roll. You know what I'm
Like
saying?
a fire drill. This is the drill. This is the drill.
This is the drill. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you want to teach your kids, and we all know you're not gonna cover everything, but you know, because there are so many situations and variables. You know what I'm saying? But you want to try to prepare them as best as you possibly can.
I got one lesson that was that most children are taught at an early age, and I'm gonna say it, and then I want to see if you answer it correctly. What was one of the first things that you were taught when your parents weren't home and you were home?
Don't answer the door.
My man,
I don't care who it is.
don't answer the door.
Yeah, turn the lights off, TV off, whatever. Get quiet all of a sudden.
Don't answer the door.
Yeah, don't answer the door.
And if you do answer the door, I mean, in terms of
Don't unlock it.
don't unlock it. You talk through the door.
Yeah, well, you really don't even want to do that because the person on the outside could easily find out if there's an adult there or not. Because they can, well, have this adult come to the door, and then, well, and then the adult never comes to the door. Now you put them, so just never go to the door, period.
All right. So
You know.
then that's when they get on the phone and they make a phone call.
Yeah,
Like that.
call somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah,
But the rule is don't answer the door.
don't answer the door.
It used to get so bad that it wasn't till for a while, moms didn't even want you answering the phone.
Yeah,
Well, that's when we had the
Yeah.
landlines in the
yeah,
house.
because
You couldn't answer the phone.
yeah, because they can find out that way too.
Yeah.
You know, I remember watching or listening to what's his name, Lavelle Crawford, and he was
Mhm.
telling the story about when he got home from school and he was watching I forget what cartoon it was, and his dad, his mom had told him don't answer the door for nobody. His dad come over and knocked on the door. Boy, let me in this house. Yeah, and he was like, my mama said don't answer the door for nobody. And you know, if you and he was like, if you actually lived here, you'd have the key.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it has to be that serious.
It has to be that serious. Why? Because he could be coming over because he mad that she in another relationship with somebody else and want to kill everybody in the house.
Or he doesn't have custody and trying to
Snatch the kid.
snatch the kid up.
So exactly. So like you said, these are standard drills, like a fire drill. Standard what you say, SOS? Standard.
SOP, standard operating procedure.
Yeah. Man, you gotta have that with these kids, man. And and what's fun about it is when you empower them with that stuff, they like it because it's like a game to them now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I seen this and I did this. Did I do good? You did excellent.
Yeah.
You know. Now most kids got cell phones.
iPads, everything.
Now that's a problem too. It's good, but it's bad.
The gift and the curse.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
because
definitely the gift and the curse.
because the phone is a computer. And if you ain't got certain locks and blocks on that thing, then guess what?
They can access certain
Man, they all over the man.
Yeah.
These
You
kids will be on the dark web
You
somewhere.
have to put on them parental blocks
Yeah.
for sure.
Shoot.
Yeah, that's a challenge too.
Meeting a pedophile at IHOP or something. You know, Burger King. You wonder what happened. Where did it go wrong at?
Yeah. You know,
You just looking for the kids 24 hours later.
they
You know what I
learn
mean?
how to turn that tracking.
That's all you need on that. I
App
want to
off.
track it, and I'll have my number in here. These are the emergency numbers.
Yeah.
Hit any one of these numbers, man. If they don't work, 911.
That's why we have to stay diligent as parents. Like,
Yes.
you know, don't like. I see you turned your. What I tell you about that? Now I'm gonna have to confiscate your phone, or you know, you have to give them consequences
Mm-hmm.
for their actions. You know what I'm saying? Not enough parents are willing to give them consequences sometimes. You know what I'm
They
saying?
reward them when they wrong.
You know, like
You
you
got
shouldn't
some-
you shouldn't have to buy the love.
Right.
You got some parents that treat their kids like they their friends.
Oh no, that's a no-no.
Yeah.
You know, and that that becomes an issue.
Now you gotta earn that
You know what I'm
respect.
Yeah.
You gotta earn that respect, man.
You know, we living in the technology world right now. Like, you know, when we was coming up, don't answer the door. A lot of houses right now got a ring, so the parent know who's at the door.
Yeah,
That's
they got
right.
a camera.
You
That's
know,
right.
they got the cameras. You know what I'm saying? So that's the gift, but it also got a curse.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I seen your little friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them on the camera. Yeah, where you think y'all going? Yeah.
There ain't gonna be no hooky party here.
That's
No.
right.
I'm so glad my kids are grown now. Ooh, they got- but I do have grandkids, and they have ideas.
And
Yeah.
they smarter, they more advanced. These kids
Yeah.
today,
Every
they pick
generation,
up,
man.
They get more
Yeah, 'cause the
intelligent.
grandkids will try you. You
Yeah.
know.
So that's good, man. So all right, so those are, we covered mostly all of the basic challenges of fatherhood in in the USA, man, this country, man. And as long as you know, you say what you mean and mean what you say. Be stern. Be lenient when you have to be, and for the most part, just because I don't want to say be real, because what is that, right?
I feel you gotta love and discipline, because you don't want the street to discipline them.
To give them what you're not giving them at home.
I've always seen discipline as love, though, as a part of love.
Yeah, this beating gonna hurt you more than it's gonna hurt me.
Yeah, and discipline don't always have to mean
Physical.
physical. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
or
we
beating.
had it. We had discipline that way, and we also had punishment.
Yeah,
And sometimes we wish, damn, I'd rather the beating than the punishment, because the punishment hurt longer.
yeah.
Kids outside, you want to go outside, now you want punishment.
I just like to say consequences. You
Ah,
know what
I
I'm
like
saying,
that.
for your actions.
I like
you
that.
have to always have consequences for your actions.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Good or bad. If you do something good, there's consequences to doing something good, because it's a reward for that. You know what I'm saying? There's consequences to doing something bad. There's disciplinary action, whether it's you lose a privilege. You know what I'm saying? You know, or if you do something good, you gain a privilege.
Mm.
You
So-
gain trust. You lose trust.
In that discipline, should the consequences be a choice? Like, so you can either lose this or that, and let them choose their own poison, or should you just be the administrator of which one and not give them that choice?
I wouldn't give them that choice, because I try to come from how can I negatively impact them the most, where this is gonna really
A teacher,
burn.
a learning lesson.
Yeah, to where they
You wanna be a
them
learning
to
lesson.
have that recall. If
Yeah.
I do this, I know I got to deal with this when I get home,
yeah,
and that's much worse than what this situation is.
yeah.
You understand? That kid might say, I can't run with y'all, because what y'all about to do, I can't handle the consequences at home.
Yeah, 'cause if you give them an option, they always gonna choose the lesser of the two evils.
Yeah. That
Always.
was just like when they say, go out there and get that switch when we was coming up.
Mhm.
You ain't looking for the biggest branch.
No, you got a choice.
You
My mother-
got the choice.
Yeah, my mother
And
would
when you
always
come
tell
back
me.
with the wrong one, oh, you think you funny, huh?
Yeah, my mother would always tell me, if that switch breaks in the first X amount of licks, I'm gonna finish beating you with that, and you're gonna go get another one, or
Right.
I'll go get it, and
Right.
you know how that
Right.
one's gonna feel.
Right. So a lot of times, you always go ahead and get one that you say, man, all right, well, yeah, this switch here is going to let her get hers off, but it
I'm gonna have to
either
deal
way,
with 12 slicks instead of 20.
Yeah.
I remember, like, me and my cousin, I was like the youngest, and but she had older brother and sisters, and her mother would task us to go get the switch to beat them with.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we take a butcher knife, we cut down a tree
Cut
branch.
down a
What y'all
tree.
want me to do? Kill him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, beat them. But we never wanted that kind of whooping. You know what I'm saying? That was a fun part of being 4 and 5 years old. Go get me a switch so I can beat so and so. Like, yeah, we'll do that. But man,
Now when it's your turn.
yeah, when it's your turn.
Yeah. And that was a good lesson. That was a good lesson, so to speak.
Yeah.
Be mindful that you might be on the other end of that switch one day. So so that's kind of good.
Yeah. So we had to turn around and go get another switch because we couldn't. We dragging in a tree branch in the house. Leaves still on it, everything. Like, nah, that ain't gonna work.
I don't know, man. Like I said, my mother, she raised us, man, and that she was.
I think we leaving out something too.
Go ahead.
You got some kids, their mother and their father not raising them, the grandparents.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, and that could be a challenge too. Not only that, but say for instance, you have an overbearing grandparent, like you raising your kids the best of your ability, but they stepping on your toes.
Right.
Ooh.
Right. I didn't raise you like that, but we living in different times now.
Yeah, like how do you
gotta have the fundamentals.
You know what I'm saying? Like how do you be respectful and still try to raise your kids? You know what I'm saying? Be respectful to your own parents as a parent yourself. You trying to raise your kids and they like, nah, you should do this or do that. You know what I'm saying? How do you balance that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be able to balance.
I got the answer to that. How you say you pick up the pieces when I'm done with it. That's it.
Yeah.
Because right now, it's going down. So that how you say, you can be the shoulder for them to lean on, and you can hug them after I finish putting this work in. Because that discipline has to happen.
And you got some parents.
Wait, they said, save the kid. Wait. What's that? Spare the rod, spoil the child. Man, you got to give it to them. You got to give it to them.
You got some parents, the father might be more sterner than the mother.
Yes, yeah.
Well,
and the kid manipulates that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because that's when you have to have the conversation with
you got to stand up. If I said this is the law, you got to uphold the law.
Yeah.
You understand? Dad said I'm on punishment for 20 days. Mom said, "Oh, that's too hard. You only on punishment for 10 days." Now you got a conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Both got to agree on whatever that situation is.
What I used to do when I was raising our kids is like, I would have a conversation with my wife, like, if they come and ask you something, first thing you should ask them, well, what did your father say?
Right.
Because I would say, well, what did your mother say? And then if they say, well, I didn't talk to her, well, I'm not going to make a decision right now until I talk to her.
Yeah.
We're going to make a decision together. You know what I'm saying? And you have to stand on that. Because if you don't, you create dissension within your own family. Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Not the kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Don't put that responsibility, because the kid is just being a kid.
He gonna lie. He gonna do whatever he got to do to get out of this situation. That's what they do.
Yeah. You always have to be.
And they smart.
That's where wisdom has to come in. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I see you trying to play me. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to be, because you're the orchestrator of the game, so you have to always be in control of the game that's being played.
My man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because
now, there's another issue that we didn't discuss.
If we left
I think a lot of people are having a problem with. They did everything for their kids.
Oh.
Gave them the best schooling, gave them everything.
Gave them too much. I got the answer to that.
And when they got to 18, 19, they start doing things that the parents just don't understand.
out of character.
Out of character.
Yeah. That's a challenge.
I didn't raise you like that. What made you do this? You understand? You'd be like, are you really my kid?
Yeah. It'll make you question that.
Yeah, because I gave you everything. And that kid ended up not liking the parent.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the sacrifice that I had to do for you to have this?
Right.
Or go to this school? Or be in this neighborhood? It's a lot on the parents.
Yeah.
Because
And
these things matter.
And at what point, as a parent, do we say, we have to wipe our feet,
Wash your hands.
wash your hands, you know what I'm saying, dust your feet off? or
But they
whatever.
still your kid no
But
matter
still,
what.
still your kid, you know what I'm saying? But now they an adult. Technically. Maybe not.
You know, you I've seen the mother and father, or the mother, whoever the parent was, gave their kids everything. Their kids went away to school, college.
Here we go.
Oh, when they came back,
Who is this?
because that freedom.
Yeah, like what we used to say, preacher's kid, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like
Preacher's
take
daughter.
take my daughter for instance, you know what I'm saying? Honor roll student all the way through high school, college, going to North Carolina Central, you know what I'm saying? Academic scholarship, everything. Senior year in at Central, she dating and everything, you know, having sex, all that, whatever, and gets pregnant. Takes advice from her boyfriend instead of me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Drop out of school. Yeah. And, he's 10 now, but you know what I'm saying? Never went back to school. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I continuously had conversations like, what would you think? Oh, I don't know why I listen to him instead of, and it's like,
Is he still with her?
no, they're not together. He's got, I think, 3 more kids by
Mhm.
another
Mhm.
female. You know what I'm saying? Like, he dropped out of school, but he went into the military or whatever. But from my perspective, she never reached her potential.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Or the choices that the choice she made changed her whole destiny.
Yes, it did.
Absolutely.
And that's why I say
Because if she never got pregnant, she might have finished college.
most definitely. You know what I'm saying?
Or never met that individual that she
Yeah.
decided to get
Yeah,
with.
yeah.
All of that one little thing could change your whole life.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of parents don't install in their kids. This
Yeah.
one mistake.
Yeah. Even when we do, and they still make that mistake. You know what I'm saying? And how do you deal with the aftermath?
Right.
You know what
You
I'm saying?
still want to know that I did tell you.
Yeah.
You might have did this. Okay, well now we gonna deal with this situation. I
Right.
make the best of it.
All right. Well, I got to play devil's advocate on that. Is what was wrong? What was the disconnect where she didn't trust and value your opinion in such a critical time in her life?
And as a father, I've contemplated that too.
I know that's why I asked you.
You know what I'm saying? And it's
That's why I asked you.
like, what missteps did I take, or is it something where she felt like she knew better than me?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
This is what I want.
yeah, like, cause I growing up, there were moments where I felt like I knew better than what my mom or
Sure.
my father was telling me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all go through that. So that's part of the learning process, growing process, and maturing. I think, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes mistakes are necessary, but some mistakes completely need to be avoided. You know what I'm saying? Because they can be almost impossible to overcome. Like, I don't regret that she has a kid now. You know what I'm saying? I love my grandson and all that. And, I feel for her in a way that her life could have been so much more promising. You know what I'm saying? But I also have to understand, well, maybe that's not what she wanted. You know what I'm saying? Did I do enough to have those conversations with her to find out what exactly it is that she wanted? You know what I'm saying? And not so much as what I wanted for
Right,
her.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that could have been the disconnect.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying? That got her on the path that she was on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. I like that. I love that honesty.
Yeah.
I think one of the, I'm not even gonna say regret, because it helped. It molded me into who I am now. But it was because it was a hard lesson that I had to learn, and it goes back to thinking that I knew everything.
Yeah. Which,
And when we don't, at certain times, we need to fall on the advice of our parents, whether we want to tell them that truth and have to deal with whatever the outcome is or whatever they say that we should do. There was a time in my life where I was in a situation and as a result of that situation, you know, I mean, I had got arrested, and my father said to me, he said, I was with you all this time. Why you ain't tell me what the situation was so I could have helped you? And you would have never been in that situation. Now, I don't know what he could have done to get me out of the situation, which is probably why I never even told him, because I'm like, how you gonna get me out of the situation when our parents are there and they walk that walk and they live their lives. So this way, when we have a difficult problem or situation, that advice comes from, before I was your father, I was somebody else. Before your mother was your mother, she was somebody else. And they had hard lessons learned too that they could pass on to you, so you don't have to learn that lesson in that manner.
yeah. I think parents should always be the first safety net.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Should always be the first person that you turn to. You know what I'm saying? To have that level of trust that you can go to them. Like, I'm 55, and I still, even though my father wasn't in my life growing up, my mother passed away when I was 29, so, you know, her passing opened the door of opportunity for us to bond.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I had to, you know what I'm saying, like, I could have been cold and bitter about it and stuff like that. But because of the morals and values my mother taught me growing up, it allowed me to have an open heart.
Yeah.
And
Good stuff.
And to forgive him and move on. You know what I'm saying? And still have a relationship with him. You know what I'm saying? So in that way, that was the influence and impact, because, you know, there are certain conversations I can have with him about being a father and stuff like that. And, you know, I don't always look to him for advice because he wasn't the father I needed him to be when I was growing up. But I can go to him and put things in front of him or have a conversation with him openly, and, you know, because he grew up with his mother and father, so he still has something to pull from to give to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm talking to someone that doesn't completely know anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm respectful enough to, you know,
to take that information
and see if it can be applied in my life.
And that's it. It's about that information, receiving it, and if it's good for you, use it. If it's not, then, because we understand, we know when we hit bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, you know, that's one of the things that life teach you. You know how you say, you know when you're hearing some bullshit, and you discard it. But
yeah,
even
I let them know real quick if it's bullshit. If I feel like it's bullshit, you know what I'm saying? And like, but I love that about the relationship that me and him have now.
Right.
It's like, you know, he's my father, but it's more like older brother type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because we're so up in age and stuff like that, you know, and he allows me to express myself, you know what I'm saying, to vent, to get that pain of him not being there as a child off my chest to him, you know what I'm saying. However, I give it to him, you know what I'm saying. And, you know, because some people, you know, in that situation could be like, I'm your father. I ain't gotta listen to this. You know what I'm saying? But what I respect about him the most is he's never been that way with me, which for me that was a lot to gain and learn from that. You know what I'm saying? Because it helps me when my kids come to me about stuff, and I don't just, oh, you can't talk to me like I'm your father. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they're adults. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to soften your heart. You know, you have to be more open-minded. You know what I'm saying? Because they're in their adult life now.
Yeah,
You know?
you definitely do. And I'm 52. My son is 27. He was just here a couple of days ago, and he said to me, without me like asking him nothing, "Dad, you a good father." And it hit me.
Yeah.
Because I know I've had some faults.
Isn't that the best trophy you ever received?
Yeah.
A compliment from your
kid.
From your
Part of
kid.
you.
Unprovoked.
Yeah. And it really hit me because I did the best that I could. I could have done better. But at that time, I made certain choices.
Right.
That some were good, some were bad. Me and his mother didn't work out. And there's been times that he'd call me, well, what's your opinion on this situation? I done told Mom she flipping out and I don't know what to do. So, all right, son, explain to me, don't leave nothing out.
Yeah.
What's going on? And all I could do is just give him my honest opinion.
Sure. Because that's what he wants right there.
You understand?
An honest opinion.
At the end of the day, you still going to do what you going to do. You know, it's a saying, you can bring the horse to the water.
You can't make him
You
drink.
can't make him drink it.
Yeah.
You understand? And, you know, you 27 now with a child. You know what I did.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the house 24 hours, 7 days a week. But when it came to schooling, clothes, child support, birthdays, me getting in the car, because he lived in Virginia, making that trip to go spend some time with him, I did. You understand? But I also realized there was some times with him just growing up with his mother, certain situations he got in, he didn't have that male figure to tell him or mold him, like, this is not the way to go, son.
Sure.
And he had to deal with certain consequences by himself because either I didn't know or he didn't tell me.
Right.
Yeah.
You understand? Or his mother, you know, it took a while before we both came with the maturity to sit there and say to each other, we have this child together.
Co-parent.
You understand? And one thing that I realized, and I see a lot of people that I know that had one child, a lot of these children feel entitled.
Yeah. So
Because they with that one child. You understand? And even into adulthood, they still got that.
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They haven't faced enough hardship to humble them.
Right.
To
Dad was always a phone call away when a situation came up.
Yeah.
Mom was always there. You understand? And now you a father. I raised you. All I could be now is a grandfather to your child. I can't be his father.
Yeah, you can't be your grandchild's father.
No, that's your job.
Yeah.
And I gotta install, there's some certain things that you are not allowed to do anymore because you got a responsibility.
Sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. It will. If you about your business, it will have you, redirecting yourself.
And I realize a lot of kids these days, 'cause I even heard him say, I'm grown. Well, grown people can turn their own lock.
Yeah. What? When a person says they grown, but they living with somebody, like their parents,
You're not grown.
yeah.
That's just real talk.
Yeah,
You
in
understand?
my opinion. In
Right.
your opinion.
Real talk. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like, but we've seen some instances where that happens.
You
and
grown,
they-
but you need me. You
Yeah.
asking me for
Yeah.
cash app.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm grown. Can I ask you for cash app?
Yeah. Like that's
Can you
what
send
they
me
make.
something?
That's what they make banks for and loan officers. If you need money, build your credit up. Go ask them.
You know,
what I'm
and
saying?
being that you said credit, that was one thing I tried to install in him when he was younger. He buying a car. I said, son, that ain't the car. How you know? You're not even here. All right, well, what's the interest rate? What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
we gotta
that?
have a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what you come to realize with your child when you say something to them like that. Okay, I didn't give you enough information because you don't know about this part, and that as a black father in America is a challenge in itself. Is financial literacy.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like you know, yes, you could get some things in school, but you still need to have a conversation with your child. You know, because growing up for us blacks, you know what I'm saying, we were denied home loans.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying, for a long time, couldn't even buy a home. You know what I'm saying, and we still have struggles with that.
Considered 3/5 of an individual.
Yeah, we still struggle with that. You know what I'm saying. Granted, like you can do some things online, and they don't know your ethnicity or whatever because you do it online when you're filling out applications.
But when you show up in person,
Oh yeah. Oh, or they can look at your name. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we get discriminated on in so many different facets of life that you know we always behind the 8 ball.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you have your own business and this and this and that, you know, you still having to deal with things. I'm not saying that other people don't, but like
We got to do it 3 times better.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Even on our job, you know what I'm saying, we have to be extraordinary. Just
Yeah.
can't be an average employee.
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like we were talking about earlier, you know, me, you, and Joe Snuffy could be doing the same job, but because Joe Snuffy is Caucasian,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, he making $10, $15, $20,000 more than us for doing the exact same work.
So, and you might have to pick up on his case a little
Yeah,
because
yeah.
guess what? Yeah.
Actually, you might be the person that
train him.
that's what I was going to say.
He gonna
You,
take
you
your
train
job.
them or you refer them to the job or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Y'all friends from high school or whatever. Like, my daughter's boyfriend, she dating right now. You know, he brung like 3 white guys on the job. All 3 of them make more than him, and they was doing the exact same thing here.
Wow.
All 3 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's, you know, saying stuff to management and because you know they threaten you with that. Well, we can fire you.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, so
Oh yeah.
now you can't really say nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So what do?
You have
Keep
to do what
working.
we give you.
Keep accepting it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, but then they say things like, well, systemic racism and all this stuff doesn't exist.
That's what it is.
Oh, it exists. You know
That's
what
what
I'm
it
saying?
is. And that's and like I said, and that's those are also challenges. And y'all covered the last one, which was, you know, as they grow older and find out what the world is really about, that's a challenge too, because now you have to help them navigate that challenge. And you spoke about it, financial literacy.
Well, it adds undue stress. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know how mental health is
Yes,
seen as a negative thing in the black community,
but it's present.
but it's present. You know what I'm saying? Like, can't be too prideful or whatever to seek mental health. You know what I'm saying? Because like you dealing with all this stuff, and then you come home, and then you can't have these conversations with your partner because a fear of feeling less than or weak or whatever.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because your partner ain't got your back or as strong as you need them to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to where you can have an open conversation with your partner. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I'm dealing with all this BS at work and stuff like that. And, you know, da 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 da. And, you know what I'm saying? you know, because sometimes you need that from your partner. To be
Sure.
that shoulder to cry on.
Sure,
Oh,
that's
you a bitch ass nigga. You know,
yeah.
You know, like that ain't
That's
the kind of. That's not love.
That's
you know
another
what I'm saying?
challenge of the black man.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's another challenge.
Now,
of
what
the
you
black
did
man.
is, in the past, is what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Because we all, you know, as black men, we always supposed to have an answer. We always supposed to be the strong, to show the strength. We got to be all, so we don't have a chance or time to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And sometimes if sometimes if you got the wrong homies, man, you know, they'll tell you stuff like, man, you know, knock it off with that you know, that excuse my, that bitch ass behavior, man. Tighten up, nigga. Get it together, man.
Yeah.
You know,
one-
say it with your chest out, man. You be like, man, right now, man, my chest is my back right now, man. I'm going through some stuff, man. Can I talk to you, man? What's going on? And so when if there's no one, and we're going back to it, if there's no one that you can trust when you're feeling in that manner,
vulnerable.
vulnerable. And look, I knew the word. I didn't even want to say it because it sounds weak.
Yeah.
And that's what we're taught. We can't be weak.
Can't be vulnerable.
Can't be vulnerable, and because it shows off as a sign of weakness.
Yeah. You can't cry.
Yeah, and all that, man. So we supposed to be void of emotions. Wow, but we're human.
Yeah.
We're human dealing
pain
with
is pain.
pain
It
is
hurt.
pain.
It hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
which goes right off into why some people commit suicide.
Yes.
Why some people bug out. Yo, he was good last week. What he doing up in Bellevue? He done
You
lost his
had a nervous
mind.
breakdown.
Nervous breakdown, man.
Yeah. Which
So
is why I appreciate this forum that we having today. You
these
know what I'm saying?
conversations,
These
men sharpen men.
conversations, man. Iron sharpens iron.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of the big problems is pride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you gotta be able to swallow that, and you gotta not be afraid to say if you don't know something, because we live in a world you might not know it today. If you hit Google,
Yeah.
you'll know it in a couple minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So man, I want to thank y'all, man, for this conversation, man, because we tackled the topic. I hope that it was, you know, what we shared here might be helpful for somebody that watch this. And like I said, like and subscribe, man. Hit that button. Give us some comments, some feedback. Let us know what y'all want us to discuss, man, because we want to bring a forum to you that what you might be going through, we can help you with some of the words that we're expressing right now. So, man, for that, I want to thank y'all. And I want y'all to remember, man, keep watching the No Label Show. We got more stuff coming at you, man, and we're going to keep giving it to you. Because where we at?
Southside, we outside.
Southside, we outside. Say it with your chest out.
Southside, we outside.
That's what I'm talking
Southside,
about. Man.
we outside.
I say, man, till the next time, man. Thank you, man. Like and subscribe. Later.